were there any signs? What made you think that Ada was going to be a successful business when you compare it with your earlier ventures? Anything in particular that gave you confidence in the early days?
Yeah, so I kind of touched upon this a little bit earlier. I'll give you more detail. I joined 7 different customer service teams as an agent in the early days of exploring how automation might be able to improve the customer experience. And David and I answered thousands and thousands of customer service inquiries manually across phone, live chat, email. This was definitely the low point of my entrepreneurial career because we were working literally 77 jobs at the same time, and we were handling the most repetitive inquiries that these businesses were getting in their support departments. So it was pretty monotonous. We observed, I'd say, 3 trends. The first thing we observed was that 30% or more of the inquiries we were responding to were repetitive and mundane. The second thing we learned was that the agent experience of responding to these customer service inquiries that we and our colleagues were living in, the software experience, was highly negative. In short, we didn't feel like the software was designed to improve our productivity and to support us. It felt like we were fighting against it. And the third thing we witnessed is that we all wanted to offer a better experience to our customers. All our colleagues were like, we should be able to talk to our customers like we talk to our friends. Looks like we're live on video.
Nice.
But we want to be able to talk to our customers like we talk to our friends. And that meant turning on messaging and live chat channels and texting relationships with customers. And that was always vetoed by the brand because it was viewed as running counter to the cost saving paradigm, the goal of reducing customer contact, not increasing it. There are very manual origins to our automation company. So we kept our heads down, fought the temptation to write a single line of code, and essentially became amongst the most productive agents on each one of these teams. And we saw churn go down. It turns out if you respond to customers more quickly, they like your business more, they're less likely to leave. We saw agent attrition fall, which was much more surprising. Turns out that if you remove the repetitive nature of the customer service job, what you're left with is something far more intellectually stimulating, far more challenging, and actually for the business, the conversations that are left over tend to be far more revenue generating in nature. And in short, people like their jobs more. Our colleagues loved that we were taking the simple stuff off their plates because they were left with hard problems to solve, which meant that 45% annual turnover rate that we see across the enterprise and customer service departments fell quite precipitously. The third thing we learned was that there was so much value in this conversation data.
Yeah.
There were sales opportunities and product insights. And most of this data was not being leveraged in any sort of company decision-making. We felt like it should have been bubbled up to leadership. We felt like it should have been informing multiple departments' approaches to their annual planning, to their day-to-day decision-making, all the above. But this gold mine that it felt like we were sitting on wasn't really recognized or appreciated within the companies we worked for. And it turns out that's true for the average company around the world. I'm giving you a long answer to get to your question. We knew Ada was working because we set out to build technology that replicated the manual behaviors we were engaged in as agents. We took an ML approach to that because we had access to so much data. And then we focused on making those ML techniques easy to use because so many of our colleagues were non-technical. The people who knew the customer best were not technical.
Yeah. And
it's when we figured out how to make these ML techniques simple enough to use and empowered the customer-facing teams to create with that we started to see some very exciting results. And we knew it worked because we didn't get fired. We were our managers actually preferred what we were doing in an automated capacity, and we're so delighted with the impact on the team and the results that it was a win-win-win for every stakeholder involved: the customer, the employer, and our colleagues, the agents. And the last 4 years of Ada have really been about increasing the capabilities and sophistication of our automation. and delivering it to more and more brands who can create even crazier and more valuable experiences with our technology.
Yeah.